All right, and we are live. Hello, everybody. Dozer here. We're going to get off to a nice bit of a Flesh and Blood Talishar gameplay stream where we will be looking at the Lexi list that we were building in the last video. So let's get into some games here. And hopefully the audio is a bit better balanced this time. So let's have a good time. Let's see if there are any games we can hop into. And sure, let's hop into this Viserai CC game. Oh, there's already someone in there. So, see if we can get into a different one. Riptide, that seems fine. All right, so we're going to be up against another ranger, except this time we are only being a bit of a ranger ourselves. And so, let's see here. I don't really think we'll want Tar Pit Trap because Tar Pit Trap into this guy is probably not going to give us a ton of value. He's probably not going to send that many go again arrows at us, and even if he is, the on hits I'm not super scared of. So, it's the first time we're playing this matchup. Why not? Let's just run the 60 and see how it does. I'm going to try and keep an eye on the chat. If anybody ends up wanting to join in on the conversation, feel free. I will be checking. Right off the bat here, we're going to be starting off against Riptide. Seems to be going second for us. We have a pretty nice hand. We've got a blue and a couple arrows, as well as an Arctic Incarceration. So we're going to be able to, hopefully, block pretty well here and load an arrow to save for a turn-ending play on the next turn. He's got Trench of Sunken Treasure, as well as Toxic Tips and Perch Grappler, so he's got quite a bit of armor available to him. He's looking to end his turn. Well, we don't want to take that sitting down. So what we're going to do here is we are going to pitch our Arctic Incarceration here because it blocks 2 and we want to be able to have as much block in our hand as possible. We don't want to also, because we're going to have an arrow without go again in our arsenal, we're going to want to make sure that we don't have 2 turn-ending plays going on to our first turn here. All right, so here we've got a pretty decent starting hand. We can start with the Lake Frigid, which is kind of interesting. Shoot a Fatigue Shot into a Heat Seeker and just kind of take a passive turn, which I think feels pretty good. He seems to be having a lot of red cards, kind of maybe an awkward deck. So while Frostlock does potentially threaten some good stuff for us here, I think we're also just as happy to simply throw in our Channel Lake Frigid here. Channel Lake Frigid is going to make everything that he plays cost 1 extra, or everything he activates even cost 1 extra. So that'll slow him down quite significantly. And so we can use our Voltaire here to load a Fatigue Shot, give it go again, and shoot it off, pitching our Frostlock. This means that no matter what he throws at us, it's going to lose some damage if this hits. And so we're just going to be threatening some more of those resources out of his hand here, with the Heat Seeker at the end of our turn here to make sure that we can threaten to get a bit of card draw thanks to the arsenal it'll offer for us. So why don't we do that right now? Send 5 his way. If he wants to do anything on his turn, he's going to have to hold a lot of resources. And so here we're going to get at least Death Touch out of him. And it seems... Oh, by the way, it's interesting that he's using New Horizon, because New Horizon for Riptide doesn't have a ton of synergy, a lot of things. Here comes a Spite Pick Trap. We've done no reactions. This is just blocking us for 3. We don't really care about that. Yeah, that's fine. Ooh. So we got basically his whole hand out of him. He can't do much on his turn. So we will bottom this, get a flow counter onto our Channel Lake Frigid to keep it around. And we can basically go to our turn. Yep, so he's got nothing he can do. It's our turn again. So already we've got a great hand of Drill Shot into 1-cost arrow into Codex of Inertia. So we're going to do that. Nothing too fancy here. Pitch the blue card. Load our... In this case, he's got a lot of armor, so we want to lead with the Hamstring Shot here. We could also have saved the Hamstring Shot for the end to see what we got off Codex of Inertia. So we could have done Drill into load Hamstring, play Codex, and then we could decide whether or not we wanted to fire Hamstring to leave ourselves a bit more open for resources. But I think I want to do it this way. Not really sure what he's doing over there. That's okay. We may as well, yeah, use our Voltaire here, load our drill shot, give it the... In the off chance that we get a 0-cost arrow, we want this to have go again. If we don't think we're going to get one, we want this to have the +1. I think we have enough cards that we want to have go again on this. So we will go ahead and think just fire that off here. Be happy to get some cards out of his hand or to force the armor block early. Perfectly happy with that. He doesn't know what we have, so could be threatening maybe a Quiver of Rustling Leaves to get another ice card and Channel Lake Frigid. Looks like he's blocking again. Curious to see what he's got here. A lot of 2 blocks in his deck. Boulder Trap, okay. Again, that's not really a problem for us. Not only does our armor not block, and do we not really try to use it to block, but a lot of these trap effects are not hitting our stuff because we're sending base value cards at our opponent. All right. So now that that's completed, we can activate Codex of Inertia and try and get something. And we got a 0-cost arrow. We love that. So let's just go ahead and throw that at him. Right, another bit of damage here. And we'll have that Ponder token, which will let us throw something into our arsenal and feel pretty happy about it. So in this case, we would have rathered have gotten the +1 damage off of the drill shot to help push those breakpoints, but you know, it's a random card. I think we took the safer line of play here, even if it's not the most optimal. I think actually what we should do while we're thinking about it is tweet that we're actually streaming. So let's go ahead and pass the turn there. Yeah, arsenal that Heat Seeker and save it for later. Twitch.tv/Dozer stream. Yeah. All right. Looks good. Trench of Sunken Treasure. We don't really care about that too much. Codex of Frailty. Interesting. It's going to make our turn a bit weaker, but we don't really care. Basically, my thought process is just that that's not even going to have go again. So what do we want to do here? We can fire another... We're not going to get to keep our arsenal, but we don't really get a Ponder token. So let's go ahead here and just try and dump our whole hand. We'll fire Frostlock, Pathing Helix, Heat Seeker. That'll be -3 damage. Doesn't feel great. What we can do instead, though, is we can just block here. So we don't give him that extra value off the Frailty. Yeah, he's not going to really have a turn here. Oh, we don't have an inertia. They have an inertia. Oh, that's silly then. We made a misplay. That's okay, though. This is still going to be a fine turn because we're going to Channel Lake Frigid into a Heat Seeker for 4, and that's going to still pull some stuff out of his hand. So not too shabby. Only getting that 1 damage benefit off the Frailty, and it's still going to pull either an extra card or it's going to pull a bit of equipment because he does still have to worry about the... Ponder token should be gone, but anyway. Okay, cool. So it looks like we're gonna get that. And we get to end our turn here. And that looks good to us. We got a couple arrows we can shoot next turn, do a Codex of Inertia play, have a nice wide turn, see what we get. I don't think the Riptide's gonna present anything too debilitating to us here. So let's let him do what he's gonna do. Also, the nice thing about running so many of these arrows is that they all block 3. So even though Yellow Drill Shot's not the most amazing card ever, it does the job perfectly fine. Okay, interesting. I don't think he counted as resources there. But such is the way of the Talishar life. All right, so it's our turn now. Let's open up here. Oh yeah, he couldn't pay through the Lake Frigid. He wasn't really expecting that. All right, so what we're going to do here to start off is we're going to use Voltaire. We're going to pitch Frostlock because we don't have an ice card. We are going to use that to load in our Bolt and Shot for +1. It's going to come in for that 1 for 4 go again, which is very, very nice. If he wants to use any D-Reacts, he's going to have to pay a lot extra, and that'll really weaken his turn thanks to the Channel Lake Frigid, so definitely a really great card to have access to when we have blue heavy hands. We are going to hit there. Pitfall Trap. Coming out of Arsenal, it seems, which is going to do 2 damage to us unless we pay 1. We can afford to do that, but I don't really think we need to. He has to pay for it. But yeah, I think when we have 40 HP to our opponent's 23, I don't really think we care too much about preventing 2 damage when we can just throw a lot more resources down the pike here, especially because the Tunic resource enables us to do some stuff with the Codex of Inertia depending on what we pull, so not really too worried about that. No, we will not pay. We will take the damage. He full blocks us there in reactions. That's okay. We're going to do our next attack, which we can do by throwing out our Pathing Helix, potentially. We could give it go again off the Snapdragons, but we don't really want to be forced to do that. We don't have to. So we could first think about throwing our Drill Shot with +1, which I think is what we'll do. And we will, depending on what he does, we will Snapdragons or not. Because next turn we can do Pathing Helix into stuff and then Codex of Inertia. So we don't really have to rush the Snapdragon play here. Although we will be doing it soon. We are having a lot of extra cards in our arsenal that we're having to get out of there. So definitely important to fix there. Okay, so he's full blocking that. And he's going to have to pitch his card in hand to send a Sedation Shot at us. So if we were able to do our Codex of Inertia next turn, that's actually going to be pretty nice for us. So I think what we'll do is we will simply allow him that benefit here. We will Arsenal our Codex of Inertia and try and do a bigger turn next turn. Yeah. And so he's coming at us for 5. We've got pretty solid hand here, so we are perfectly happy to take 5. Get that Inertia token. So the first thing we can do here is we can activate our Rain Razors. We can then use our Lexi ability to flip our Codex of Inertia. We can fire our Pathing Helix. Going in for 6 off of the Rain Razors, giving the +2. We're going to Snapdragon Scalers, give it go again. This will allow us to free up our other cards in hand. Tar Pit Trap, that's fine. Don't really care about that. It's going to affect the next attack that hits. Looks like he might be using 2 of these. Taking some damage from these traps, it seems. And the Riptide ability, that's fine. That's okay. Yep. So then what we will do is we will simply use our Tunic to get a resource. Activate Voltaire. First time this turn. Go ahead and grab ourselves a Bolt and Shot for +1 and fire it off. Normally we'd rather try and get the Codex of Frailty in play rather than the Codex of Inertia. But in this scenario, it's kind of nice to be able to... Now we could do it, right? We could pitch the Fatigue Shot into nothing, use Frailty to grab back a Falcon Wing, and then see what we get off the Codex of Inertia. But at the same time, I'd rather, since we've already used Lexi this turn, just go with our original plan and use Voltaire pitching Codex of Frailty in order to get Fatigue Shot, give it Go Again, see what we get off of our Codex of Inertia. We get a Bolton Shot, that's great. So we can throw our Fatigue Shot, no problem, at our opponent. And then we can finish with that Bolton Shot for 6. Nice turn, by the way. Very, very, very nice turn. All right, so we used all our resources. We got our Ponder token to counter the inertia. So everything is going according to plan here. We will choose to order the effects such that yep, and there we go. Falcon Wing in the arsenal into a Pathing Helix 3 of a kind turn. This is going to be disgusting. Now, 2 damage off of Pursuit of Knowledge is kind of annoying, but since we can't use the Art of Incarceration next turn anyway, this is totally fine. We're just going to block that too and prevent him from getting that big hand of block. So no worries at all. Now we get to do a pretty fun turn where we start off with a 3 of a kind, pitching a Drill Shot Yellow. So we have those floating resources. And now we can open off with a Falcon Wing, which is amazing because now we have our arsenal freed up so that our Bolton Shots and Pathing Helixes can help us reload more cards, like the Cold Snap or like the Channel Lake Frigid. So that'll actually be really, really dirty here in a second. So that's fine with us. No worries there. We can use our Voltaire to load a Bolton Shot for +1, and then we get to fire it for 0. If this hits, we get to reload our Channel Lake Frigid, pitching a Cold Snap, and then finishing off with our Pathing Helix. So this is kind of amazing for us, honestly. If it doesn't hit, we still can shoot Pathing Helix and threaten the same exact thing. So really not worried about that at all. What does this one do? If we have beta greater than its base attack, attacks cannot gain plus this turn. Okay, so that should stop our turn in its tracks here, actually. Yeah, that'll remove the Go Again, which is a bit unfortunate. We got kind of hard countered there on this really juicy turn otherwise. So theoretically, we could have led with the Pathing Helix first to play around that, but that's a 1-of trap in their deck. I don't think we can be too sad about not playing around that properly. So what we're going to do here is we're going to pitch the Channel Lake Frigid. We're going to load the Pathing Helix into our arsenal. Doesn't matter what we do with that. And we are going to pass and throw our Cold Snap into arsenal to set up for next turn, which we'll have a perfectly fine time doing as well. So not a problem at all. We are very much in the driver's seat here. So we're going to flip to give Cold Snap a Frostbite to our opponent off of the Lexi ability. We've got Bullseye Bracers as well, so we can use Cold Snap, pitching our first 3 of a kind. See what we draw into. It's a Drill Shot Yellow. That's pretty cool. Now he has to choose whether or not he wants us to freeze his arsenal or not. What he could do is he could trench it away, but he's not going to, so that's fine. You can now lead with a Rain Razors before we 3 of a kind. An Endless Arrow is going to be a pretty good tool for us here in order to threaten a bit of value. So already here, this is looking great. Let's go ahead and use our Voltaire to lead off with a... let's do a Bolton Shot this time because we want to be able to... We're not going to be able to get this Pathing Helix out of our arsenal to Go Again. But what we can do is we can... Well, actually, let's load Hamstring Shot, give it Go Again, and fire it. This is going to make our opponent's turn less, a lot less powerful because it's going to prevent them from effectively using their attacks. So no, we will not pay. We'll take the damage. That's totally fine. Pass on reactions. Let's see here. Cool. Looks like he's going to block out a little bit more. It's perfectly fine for us. Riptide's doing some interesting damage to us on our own turn, but it's not really doing a whole lot to us. Once we get through the reaction step, we can go back and throw another attack at him. So let's go ahead and do that using our Voltaire. He's got no cards left in hand to block with, so we can just go ahead and throw our Endless Arrow into here, throw it at him, the go again, and that'll just kill him. Unless he blocks with his armor, but we'll finish him off with a Pathing Helix, no problem at all. Nice, easy, quick game. Nice thing is that we had some really nice play lines where we had a lot of damage available to us. He's got a trap, it seems, so he's not done yet, but he's ooh. Didn't mean to pass on that. Oh, is that giving us, okay, interesting. And then we throw the Pathing Helix for 6. Even if he gives us all of his armor here, we're still killing him, so GG. And there you have it. There's the first one of the night. We still have time for quite a couple more, so let's go ahead and do that. Let's think here. Let's reload and see if we can get some games in. We can play against an Icelander, why not? Someone's already in there, it seems. Unfortunate. I don't know what parsing error is about. Oh, there we go. Okay. Suppose we can create our own, so let's do that. Rejected. Interesting. Oh, we need to have our deck list. That's probably the main reason here. So let's just go ahead here and get that deck list real quick. We don't want to play Blitz, so let's do this way. Yeah, so generally the way this deck list is composed is we don't really have any fusion. We're not really relying on the elemental cards that Lexi is mainly known for. We're mainly relying on raw value and trying to just use our cards in the most synergistic way possible, such as with Voltaire, New Horizon, and a lot of these cards that just work really well with those, especially like 3 of a kind. Against an Azalea, it's hard to say if I like running Perch Grapplers or the Snapdragon Scalers more. A lot of the times if they're coming in for dominate damage, the Perch Grapplers is going to not be enough, especially since it only happens once. But at the same time, the Snapdragon Scalers can be really good at helping us actually pop off on our own turn, so I think we might just go ahead and keep the Snapdragon Scalers for now, just because, you know, if we get on the front foot, no, the more I say it, I think I want Perch Grapplers. I think I want the block. I don't think we really need a ton of these D-Reacts, though. I don't think these are going to be super impactful, so I think we're just going to go ahead and leave the 60 as is and not really worry too much about the sideboard plan, because at the end of the day, it's not really our main game plan. So we are going first here, so we can load a pretty nice turn. So we can push some damage if they don't want to block, so I kind of like that idea. Sometimes it could be good to hold your cards and not worry too much about trying to push damage on turn 0, but at the same time, being able to double Arsenal can be really good, get cards out of their hand and push damage to face can be pretty good. So really nothing wrong with doing this here. Okay, we got a Red Ledger out of him already, so now we don't have to worry about that until he gets a Codex of Frailty. So that's pretty good. I like that. Let's pressure him some more and throw in our Pathing Helix with the Go Again. Now, the thing that I want to do here actually is Arsenal the Falcon Wing and not really give him any more chances to kind of, how do you say it? Oh yeah, like filter his hand, right? So we could attack with Pathing Helix here, and we could save the Falcon Wing for open Arsenal next turn, or we could just have a bigger, wider turn next turn. I think right now that we'll just send the Pathing Helix in. Go Again, threatening to put in, oh, we got a second Red Ledger out of him. That's amazing, so we love that. That's gonna make our life much better. And we can just Arsenal our Falcon Wing, and now when he gets his Codex of Frailties, they're basically gonna be totally fine, but getting 2 red ledgers out of the way really early is really nice. Remorseless, Ravenous Rabble. So he's coming in for some damage here. We're not really too concerned about Ravenous Rabble. Doesn't really present anything to us that's very threatening. Remorseless here is going to do a drill shot. We don't really care about that at all. There's a consideration here to block the Perch Grapplers, but at the same time, we're going to be losing the 1 block anyway because it has the aim counter, and we'll have the Pierce. I believe it has the aim counter. Does not. Oh, it does have the aim counter. Yeah. So we don't really want to lose that 1 block for no reason here. So I think we're just going to go ahead and take this damage. No problem. It's pretty unthreatening bit of damage, honestly. Like 11 damage, yeah, but we just, full take and don't really worry about it too much. So what we're going to do here first is we're going to flip Lexi just to get our arsenal opened up. We will Voltaire, pitching our Cold Snap to load our Frostlock, give it go again, fire Fuse with Channel Lake Frigid. This is going to allow us to drop our own Channel Lake Frigid depending on what he does with his blocks. So not a bad turn for us here. And we're going to fire off our Falcon Wing anyway, so not a huge deal. Yeah, getting 2 pumps away from the Azalea feels really good. So we're happy with that. And then what we can do here is we can fire out our Falcon Wing, kind of conserve more information, push a little bit of damage, try and get on that front foot, because going first into Ranger is kind of bad because we want to be able to have the tempo, because the Ranger that gets on the front foot tends to be the Ranger that wins. So having to catch up with this life total deficit against someone who can really slow us down means that we really need to do everything in our own power to slow our opponents down, like with this Channel Lake Frigid here, which will also help us dodge the Seek and Destroy so we don't lose our arsenal. So going off of that, we'll just pass, bottom that, and so they're going to have a hard time playing out their turn here because everything they do costs 1 extra. I think that should give us some breathing room to have a nice big turn. But he's just going to come in with a Heat Seeker for 5. Do we care? He's going to get an Arsenal no matter what. And what we can threaten on our next turn is Hamstring Shot and the Drill Shot with Rain Razors, which is going to be 4 plus 4, 8, 12 damage, compared to doing very little if we block this, right? So I think we're going to be happy to let him get a card face up in Arsenal, which is not going to let him opt off the Skullbone. And he's got a Codex of Frailty, which is really good for us, actually, because that means he does not have it to lead his turn with, unless he blocks us out and then he gets the card back. But I think we're okay with this. So what we will start off by doing is we will activate Voltaire, pitching our Winter's Bite. We will do Hamstring Shot for go again, and we will fire it. Our opponent, we're going to conceal the fact that we have the Rain Razors, so that if he wants to block us effectively or efficiently with something, he would have a hard time doing so. But we're going to come in and hit him with that 6 power attack. He does not seem to want to block. That is fine for us. We're going to do Drill Shot. Just going to come in for 6. So very nice little 12 damage turn, which is going to make it harder for him to play his first attack. And we get to take away some of his armor. I always like to take away the Skullbone armor first, because it makes them want to block with their tunic. We have our own Codexes of Frailty here to be able to get back our own cards like the Drill Shot or maybe the Falcon Wing or something. We haven't gotten our own Heat Seeker yet, but should it be a good time. Now I wonder what our opponent is going to do. Our opponent has a Codex of Frailty in Arsenal, but they can't flip it to get an opt. So the only really way they can play out their hand and have a good time is either drop a ton of pumps into a Codex to get an arrow and then flip the card, or they could maybe have a bunch of arrows in hand, and so they're just going to raw Codex of Frailty. Well, all right, we are happy with that. Obviously, it's not ideal for us to be hit with a Frailty token because we like to go so wide out of Arsenal, but At the same time, we're going to be pretty happy with getting a pretty easy to get out of arsenal card like the Falcon Wing back, while getting rid of maybe our Lightning Surge here, because that card is normally better off in the graveyard anyway, because we can use it off of Codex of Frailty to give things go again. There's a red in the Ledger coming at us with no Dominate, most likely, because he's only got one left in the deck. He's going to read the Glide Path to opt to try and dig into an arrow, potentially. And hopefully he counted out his resources properly this turn. At least for his sake, not for ours. Take aim, okay. He's going to come in for some damage here. And then the good old-fashioned red in the Ledger for 11. So the most we can realistically block here and be happy with is 5, because we don't really want to give up 2 Codexes of Frailty here. At the same time, we're not going to have too much going on next turn. So what we could do is block like this. There's no other on-hit coming in, so we'll just block like so. He gets that Ponder token to set into Arsenal. Now what we're just going to do is we're going to Lexi to flip our arrow. We're going to end our turn. Put that Codex of Frailty away so that we can have a nice little turn when we get to play the game. But he's got to knock the Death Whistle. So already we're seeing how the Ranger Mirror is starting to get out of hand, where we missed one turn of kind of disruption, of a really good ability to stop what he's doing, and now he's doing it to us. You know, the red in the Ledgers, knock the Death Whistle is going to search, probably red in the Ledger here, get whatever he wants. Although it could get something else. But it's almost certainly red in the Ledger. And then we have to try and deal with that by holding on through all of the Dominate. So it's going to be hard for us to do a whole lot in response, but hopefully here. Okay, so he doesn't get the Dominate off this turn. I guess he didn't have enough copies of Red in the Ledger in the deck to use. So all we have to do is worry about a fairly... It must be in his hand, right? Or not, he's got a Heat Seeker. So we actually get to have a turn. This is great. We're going to take a lot of damage to have to do it, but you know, it is what it is. So, and that is a big arrow, 17 damage. Wow. Incredible. So that's almost going to put us to lethal. So we really should block some of this. We can't use all of our codexes in hand, although we can actually 100% use them all. So I think we're going to have to do that. I think we're going to throw the Purge Grapplers in front of it for one block and really just pray that our next turn is going to be good enough to kind of counteract what this guy's got going on here. Because our own hand could have blocked, 10, but we still would have taken a ton of damage. He's got a Spire Sniping, which doesn't do anything for him here. And that's a really... Heat Seeker for him is a really clunky card. I think that card could have been any other 5 attack, 1-cost arrow and have been better, but maybe that's just me. So on our turn here, the first thing we are going to do is we are going to attack with our Falcon Wing. Main reason for this is we need to try and open up our arsenal to use our Pathing Helix into Heat Seeker and then Codex of Frailties to get some arrows back. So he's not going to block. We're going to deal 3 damage. We're going to use Lexi to flip our own Codex of Frailty up. Then we're going to use our Codex of Inertia. Oops. Going to pitch our Codex of Inertia for a Pathing Helix, which we will give go again. We will fire Pathing Helix for 4. We will then use our Voltaire to load Heat Seeker for go again. Use Tunic to make a resource. Fire Heat Seeker for 5 go again. So we've already done 3, 4, 9 is 14 damage this turn, right? Or maybe I miscounted that. 9, 12 damage this turn already. So we're going to punch him for another 5. Then we can activate a Codex of Frailty out of our hand in order to get a card with Go Again. At this point, we don't really care if it's an arrow or not, so we want to get something like Lightning Surge, which we had thrown in our arsenal before. We can't flip anything face up with Lexi this turn because we already did that, so we're just going to attack the Lightning Surge out of arsenal, come in for 4. And this Frailty is going to be pretty important to help us actually save some damage on the tail end when it slows down our opponent's damage. And then we can activate Frailty again, give them another Frailty token, and this time we can get maybe the Drill Shot, which comes in for 3 and might soften up their armor, but we don't really care about that at this point. It'd be much better to simply get the Lightning Surge back again, and then fire it for 4. So that's what? 12, 17, 20 damage. Not bad. Not bad at all. We got the Ponder tokens to counter the inertia and the Seek and Destroy effects. So that's nice for us as well. Now we're going to have to probably use our New Horizon to block next turn, which kind of hurts, but it is what it is. We got a lot out of him here. So we will get our Ponders off. I don't know how to order those, but that's fine. So we got a Drill Shot into Arsenal. We will Arsenal the Winter's Bite here and give us as much block as possible out of hand. Hopefully he doesn't get a Dominate here. He doesn't have an easy way to access one because the Spire Sniping's already face up in Arsenal and he kind of has to blind Azalea here. But he's got the Wreathed Glide Path, which could help him find exactly what he needs. If we have to use our armor to block, we will, surely have to do that, but the Frailty should help us out here by reducing his damage by 2, which should give us some wiggle room here, hopefully. But yeah, Ranger Mirrors can be pretty swingy, so not too concerned about getting on the back foot in this case. So he's coming in for 7 Dominate. We can block for not that much, right? All we can block from hand is 5, so 3, and then we have these. And so we'll take 1 and live, but we're gonna lose our arsenal, so that is the weakness of New Horizon after all. We do live, so we're still in this game technically. Oh, but he's got the Bullseye Bracers. I guess he got going off his Snapdragons. So he is going to try and threaten us a little bit more. The Bolton. Ooh, well, that's scary for sure. 4 damage. Oh, geez. That's just enough to get our hand. Oh, well. We have to give him 2 cards here. Frailty did kind of save our bacon at the end, though. But now what we have to do is we just have to pass. Yes, we pay. And so we stay alive for now, but we probably just die here. So, oh well. Oh well. Hopefully he just has a bad turn here. We have a pretty decent blocking hand. We can block 11 here. We still have our own Bullseye Bracers to try and push damage. Okay, so we have to give our whole hand again. Unfortunate. Let me pass. Again, a lot of block, but we have a non-block in our hand. So we might have to do the honorable Rain Razors to buff our opponent's arrow here. Okay, Dominate, take aim. AKA, there's no Dominate this turn. That's pretty nice for us. So we might yet live. We might yet live. But he is throwing a lot of damage at us, so we will see. I think he just redid his turn based on what he drew. Which, if so, is... No, he didn't. No, he flipped up the... Well, that's all she wrote. We're going to go to our reactions here. Activate Rain Razors to die with dignity. And pass. All right, well, there you have it. The armor did end up mattering, although we got hit by that Dominated Pierce Drill Shot pretty early, so we didn't get that full value, so it could have made a big difference. But, oh well. Try and get another game in because we still have a little bit of time before we hit an hour, which is normally how long I like to do these streams for. Not spend too long. And let's be a good Samaritan and start our own game session. Yeah, overall, the deck feels good. I mean, we're not really doing as much disruption as like an Ice Lexi list would. But at the same time, we're more consistently having our block values be high. We're more consistently being able to throw out multiple arrows a turn and do way more damage. I mean, you saw with the Falcon Wing turn where we were able to throw, I mean, at least, 2 Lightning Surges, a Pathing Helix, a Heat Seeker, and Falcon Wing. However much damage that is, I think it's 20 minimum plus the double frailty. So turns like that, if we get them at the right time, can win us the game. But if we have a 0 block at the end of the game, well, you know, it's what it is. Also, having to use your New Horizon to block feels terrible because you lose all that setup that you had gotten. So feels pretty bad, but not too bad. Oh, Fi. I think against Fi, we want to go. I think we want to go first. I think that that works just fine for us. I think against Fi especially, we're going to want to have our Tar Pit traps to help deny his on-hit abilities. And we might even want the Boulder traps, because if the Phoenix Flames and stuff come in for extra damage, we can weaken his armor and get our on-hits through better, because he tends to run things like Tiger Stripe Shuko and stuff like that. So we could theoretically get rid of some stuff like Fatigue Shot for a little bit of that extra defensiveness, because we're just losing pitch for that. And Fatigue Shot's not going to do a whole lot versus Fi. And we want the armor as well. And the reason Fatigue Shot won't do a lot versus Fi is that a lot of his cards have very low base power, and so being able to get our own D-Reacts in there is going to be pretty nice. So what we can start off here with is a good old-fashioned Voltaire. Pitch a blue. Since he doesn't block very well, we can feel pretty good about throwing out the Hamstring Shot into the Drill Shot and arsenaling our other Drill Shot. It'd be pretty easy for him to block the red Drill Shot on turn 0, so being able to save that card in Arsenal for a either block our whole hand and throw a card out type of play, or something similar is going to be really nice. So, yep, +1 on Drill Shot yellow, so this says, hey, give me the cards in your hand, or some armor. So, hey, that works for us. And then we just get to Arsenal. And hopefully that's worth the tempo loss that we're about to take. Because even on this case here, we're going to have a pretty nice turn, potentially, where we can actually just block out and then throw a Codex of Frailty. So that's actually probably going to be what we're going to do, because otherwise we're just going to be opening ourselves up to a lot of damage without a lot of upside benefit, because we don't have like a Falcon Wing or a other natural go again card in our arsenal or in our graveyard to get off Frailty. So let's see here. He's going to come in with the Syrian Ember Blade now, so we can go ahead and block with our Bolton Shot, which is fine. Lava Vein Loyalty coming in for 3 with Go again. That's fine. We'll block with our Endless Arrow. And that's going to be end of his turn. Nothing too shabby about that. So what we're going to do here is we're going to load Voltaire with For Nothing with the Codex to give that just a floating resource, since we're not going to get anything out of our hand anyway. Activate our Codex of Frailty. Get ourselves either the Hamstring Shot or something else. And since we have that floating resource and we're not too concerned about this turn otherwise, we're just going to throw that Hamstring Shot at our opponent for 4. Not terrible, not great. Obviously, we'd rather have a bigger turn, but we're not finding our Go Again arrows fast enough, so not really able to go too much wider. But this is still holding up in our arsenal for later, so we still have that turn 0 value banked for the future. And we have that Ponder token to get our Channel Lake Frigid. So if we draw a blue card next turn, which we should, generally speaking, this should be pretty good to have. So we're just gonna, there we go. Never punished, right? Never punished. We only have 1 of our arrows on a Rain Razor's turn. So not ideal for us to have to deal with here, but it is what it is. Rainbow Cinder Claw coming in for 4. We're going to want to at least pitch the Cold Snap next turn. And so I don't think this is the card we block this turn. Yeah, Rain Razor's being a 0 block is kind of awkward. Is what it is, though. Its upside is so worth the downside risk, for sure. This is going to be a big Fi turn, that is for certain. However, we can now block this attack here with our Perch Grapplers and our Lake Frigid and help us prevent him from getting the best possible playoff that he could ask for, and that hurts a lot. Snatch for 5. We cannot efficiently stop this, and so we will have to just let him have it. We might want to start going second as Lexi, because if they don't have an aggressive enough turn, we can load our Voltaire and then kind of start off on our own turn, but is what it is. It does not look like he's going for the Snapdragon's play here. He should have been. Maybe he just forgot. New Talishar UI is interesting, but okay, so he's just going to end his turn there and let us go. We love that. Let's give him a Frostbite. Thank him for his troubles. We're going to pitch our Cold Snap for that. And what we will simply do here is fire our Drill Shot. He'll probably block a little bit to preserve his armor value. If not, oh, this is going to be dirty. So we're going to kill his Flame Scale here. So it's going to hit. We're going to put the token onto his Flame Scale. When we close the chain, it's going to break his Flame Scale. We pass, and then we get to Arsenal Rain Razors for next turn. Keep our Channel Lake Frigid, and that's pretty solid. Next turn, we can do our Bolton Shot into Pathing Helix into Arctic Incarceration off the Drill Shot, so not too bad here. And the Lake Frigid should slow him down enough that we don't just get blown out here, so we can help blow him out on our own side. Yeah, the Rain Razors we played last turn was basically a yellow 3 value card because we got to take away his equipment, so not the best use of Rain Razor, but there have been worse. And here Lake Frigid is just really showing how powerful it is as a blue. You know, even when you're not doing the ice fusions, being able to reliably slow your opponent down with this card is just really valuable, so perfectly happy to do that. I do wish New Horizon didn't destroy our arsenal, the whole thing. If it destroyed one card, you know, that would be fair enough, but not getting to have anything is kind of painful. So start with our Rain Razors. In Voltaire. Pitching our, actually, we could Bullseye Bracer into load Pathing into Drill Shot, which could be good. But then we don't get to go again for Arctic Incarceration. No, I think this is the better play. Even though we're going to miss out on 2 damage from the Rain Razors potentially going maximally wide, I think dropping the Arctic is more important. So we're just going to Voltaire. Original plan here. He doesn't really have any armor that we're worried about. So we are going to go ahead here, do our +1 on Bolton Shot, come in for 6, go again. We're going to reload the Arctic Incarceration if it hits, flip it to give another Frostbite, just really prevent him from playing next turn. But we do want to hold this for the end because we don't want him to know that we have this, because if he doesn't know, then he's not going to block because he thinks he can outrace us, and then we're going to drop a giant bit of disruption on him at the end. Okay, so he's going to block us a little bit. Sink below, okay, a lot of it. But he has to pay for this, so he's not really going to have a turn after this. Just totally fine for us. Cool, that is fine with us. We can then use Voltaire to load our Pathing Helix for... He's got 2 cards, I'm not really scared of him. So we're just going to go for the +1 attack here. There's really no 2-card Fi hand that we're scared of, so. Just gonna reload, we'll arsenal our card here. E-Strike, Lightning Strike. 5, draw a card. In our hand here, we have enough resources to fire all of our arrows and then end with a Codex of Frailty and an Arctic Incarceration, so I think we're just gonna do that. So we are not going to respect this at all. Take that 5 damage, no problem. And hopefully we can get some good value here. So the first thing we are going to do is we are going to activate Lexi to flip up to give a Frostbite. Use our Voltaire pitching Tar Pit Trap to get a Endless Arrow for go again, fire. If this hits, we get more resources in our hand, which can be helpful for Heatseeker to preserve our Spring Tunic. But in this case, it looks like he'll be blocking us out, which is totally fine. We are then going to use our Voltaire, load our Heatseeker, give it go again, Tunic resource, fire the Heatseeker for 5. Go again. If this hits, we get to have a nice big arsenal here, which is totally cool. Now we have a pretty easy path to throw in 4 more damage. So we can throw a drill shot at him, and I think that's exactly what we will do. So we will, because we don't really have to worry about this Arctic Incarceration, we can play our Codex of Frailty, get our red drill shot, fire it for 0 cost at our opponent. He's not going to really be able to stop this value, and we're going to take away some of his block off his Mask of the Pouncing Lynx just to further deny him the ability to ever do that. So we'll take it away from there. We'll pass. Get our Ponder token. We got a Codex Inertia, which we could put into our arsenal, but he's not going to be doing anything to us here, and clogging up our arsenal with this card's not amazing, so we're just going to pass. Yeah, that's like the dangerous part about having some of these cards that are the turn-ending cards, but at the same time, we are perfectly happy to do what we're about to do here, where we are going to pitch our Frostlock to load our Bolton Shot, +1 attack, go again, and then we can use our Codex of Inertia to see what we get, and then we can make plays off of that. Like we get a 1-cost arrow, but whether or not we get like a card with go again, something like that. So having it in hand is going to be better for us here, so we were able to play around it effectively. Drill shot for 3. So we're taking away all of his block value. Now we can activate our Codex of Inertia. We got a Pathing Helix, which is another attack. However, on this situation, what we're going to do is we're going to use Lexi to flip up our Pathing Helix, and we're going to hit him with the Arctic Incarceration because he's been not blocking, so he wants to have a lot of cards in his hand, and so we want to be able to leave an arrow there. 3 of a kind is awesome here, to be able to slow him down a lot more. Which is what's really nice about Arctic Incarceration. When they don't block, you just don't play it, and when they do block, or rather when they do block, you don't play it, and when they don't block, you do play it. So here he's coming at us for 4. He's not going to have a very big turn. Next turn we have 3 of a kind, which we can pitch Frostlock for. Falcon Wing and Hamstring Shot are going to be very useful, but we're not going to be able to get the Codex of Frailty out most likely, so this could be a good chance to block with the Codex of Frailty. Yeah. It's just not the most usable card in this scenario. We don't have that go again on the Pathing Helix because we don't have a Snapdragon Scalers. So we are not going to be able to clear our arsenal to make way for that card, the reload. Well, it seems to be a pretty low value turn for him here. And he doesn't get to set anything up because he has that inertia token he has to worry about. So not too bad. Coming in for 3, we don't care. We can definitely take that here. And Brain with Cinderclaw, also not a problem. Looks like he's gonna come with the Lava Burst here. Yeah, that's fine. So nice big Fi turn out of nowhere, of course, but You know, it is what it is. Might give this go again. And this is, yeah, this is through 3 frostbites, by the way. Oh, and to another lava burst. Well, that sure is something, huh? We can stop this damage, but we also have access to quite a big turn of our own next turn, so I think we're just going to take it and see what happens. Well, Phi still can do plenty of damage, that is for sure. So what we're going to do here is we're going to start out with 3 of a kind, see what we draw into. Okay, a couple more blue cards, a couple ice cards, stuff like that. So what we're going to want to do first is use Voltaire, load Frostlock, give it go again, Fuse. This is going to help prevent him from doing the same shenanigans as he did last turn, where he's not going to be able to use his 0-cost cards without giving us a whole bunch of stuff out of his hands. This is kind of a great card for us to have here in this exact position. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to have the widest turn possible because, again, we have not brought the Snapdragon Scalers in, but I'm fairly certain they were worth omitting for the other card here. So we're not going to be able to do a whole lot here. What we can do is we can load our Falcon Wing for +1, go again, and we can actually use our Quiver the Wrestling Leaves to try and dig for another arrow here. So we're going to do that, pitching our Cold Snap, and there was a Boulder Trap on top, so nothing amazing, but we are going to throw our Pathing Helix out for 4 damage. Well, if he's going to let it hit... Oh, we don't have go again. Never mind. Yeah, oh well. The dream of having the 3 of a kind into our arsenal. Oh well, such is life. All right, so coming in for 6 on the turn that we had... wow, that's not what you want to see. I guess we are not supposed to run D-Reacts in Lexi ever because we got hyper mega punished. We actually just lose off of that. So that is a very unfortunately timed Command and Conquer. Wait, yeah, because we had a block with our New Horizons, so we can try and pitch for something here, but it's not likely to hit. Yup, that hurts. That hurts a lot. It hurts a lot. Just a completely dead hand. That's Ranger for you. Yeah, it looks like the D-Reacts are not the move. It doesn't seem to be doing much in Defy, and we missed on our Quiver because of the D-Reacts, and on top of that, we also got stuck against the Command and Conquer, so not what you're trying to have happen for sure. We have a 2-card... I don't know how all of our D-Reacts got this clumped together. That's kind of insane. I think we need to do something like this and hold the 1 damage because I don't think we're going to be able to cover maybe like an E-Strike for 7 if we overblock it all, right? So we're going to want to make sure we don't open ourselves up there. Lava Vein Loyalty, pass no blocks. We will go ahead here and Boulder Trap. Okay, well, we managed to survive, barely. Again, this would have been just fine if those were all arrows, so probably better for us, honestly. But we can at least Bullseye Bracers our Bolt-In Shot. We can fire it with Go again and our opponent for 5. He doesn't really want to block this, so he probably will not. The only thing that kills him here is Rain Razors, which he's not going to play around. We're going to Arsenal Art Incarceration, we're going to flip it, give him a Frostbite, and let's just pray that 4 Frostbites is enough to stop 5 from threatening us too much. Our own turn's not looking great. We're going to need 2 cards to do anything. Though we do have Lightning Surge to threaten lethal, so... Oh my. Seven. Well, we do have to give our whole hand here, but we at least have something to throw back. Because most of Fi's cards block for 2, so hopefully he's just got, no. All right, well, there you have it. The dead turn that we had really made a big difference here, and the D-Reacts didn't do anything for us, so those are never going back in the deck. Yeah, exactly philosophical. That is exactly correct. That's just Ranger, so. Oh dear, so we are not in a good spot here. I think the only out that we really have is to try and block as much as possible, and then maybe Quiver. Seems to be all we can do. Here comes the Phoenix Flame. And the Lava Burst. GG. Cool. Well, I think that'll do it for tonight. We got some good experience on our deck list here. The D-Reacts were very underperforming in that sideboard, which is the thing that we hadn't really given a ton of thought yet. I'm not sure what else in the sideboard could be useful. I'm not sure which matchups really need the sideboard help, but, you know, is what it is. I think we will endeavor on figuring out that answer next time. So thanks for watching. Catch you guys in the next video. Peace.